are unaware, Lake Tahoe is along the western United States between the states of California and Nevada. Lake Tahoe, much like the lakes in this region, is a very beautiful lake. It sits high atop the Sierra Nevada mountain range and is a small, relatively small basin compared to the many lakes in your region, but our problems are very similar. Lake Tahoe is straddled between the states of California and Nevada, and has about 55,000 year-round residents and sees 24 million visitors annually, driving 10 million vehicles, driving a $5 billion US economy annually based on recreation and the outdoors. Politically, we have 6 local governments, the federal government, the communities, the people, all working together, not always working together, but now driving forward together to achieve a common vision. Lake Tahoe was originally home to the Washoe Indians. The name Tahoe came from their meaning of the lake, their name for the lake, Taoga. And it was the center of their culture and their home, their stories. They have always been in Tahoe and spent the summers at the lake and moved to the valleys nearby during the winter. In the early 1800s, Lake Tahoe was discovered by Westerners. And this began a series of resource extractions from the area during the gold and silver rushes. The entire Tahoe Basin and surrounding areas were clear-cut for timber for the mines, leading to great environmental destruction. In the 1920s, Lake Tahoe became a playground for the wealthy, inaccessible by the general public. In the 1960, the Winter Olympics came to Lake Tahoe, and this began the modern era of the region, leading to economic prosperity and the communities you see today. Unfortunately, this also came with lots of unregulated development. Here you see our natural wetlands prior to this development. This was at one time the biggest wetland in the entire Sierra Nevada mountain range. Unfortunately, many developments were put right on top of this wetland, the natural filtration system for the lake. Overall, over 75% of our wetlands were developed on, and 35% of our streams were destroyed. Here you see one of those wetlands, an airport. This led to increased pollution entering our lake. Storm drains dumping polluted water directly onto the beach and into the lake waters, leading to loss of clarity, pollution, algae growth. This sparked great outrage and crisis among the locals and people who cared about the lake. In 1968, the states of California and Nevada came together, much like you are doing today, and decided to do something about it. They formed my agency, the Tahoe Regional Planning Agency, to oversee development on both the California and Nevada side of Lake Tahoe. Our mission isn't just about environmental protection. It is also about supporting local communities, growing the local economy, and connecting people with Lake Tahoe to create a sense of belonging and place. We achieve this through several different mechanisms. The first is the Lake Tahoe Regional Plan that regulates how you can develop, where you can develop, and how much you can develop. We also manage the transportation system of Lake Tahoe, from our roads, bike paths, buses, connecting people not only to and from Lake Tahoe, but once they are here, connecting them around to our natural resources, from their hotels to the lake, from the town centers and urban area to the trailheads, all around. This vision is created through the development of urban centers or town centers, where, much like where we are now, compact, walkable, bikeable communities with jobs and businesses and art and music, wonderful music. And around it is surrounded by natural lands and natural beauty that people are able to access. Our transportation system transports people between these urban centers to the nature and the outdoors. This vision, as you see here, is outlined between urban centers where the economy and jobs and people can thrive, with convenient and easy connections to the outdoor resources. We also integrate stormwater management into our urban centers. So not only do we have economic prosperity and sustainable development, we have environmental protections built into that. For example, here you see stormwater treatment going through part of our town, but this is multi-benefit. It provides open space, which has value, which makes more scenic development. This also includes public access, bike trails, multiple benefits. You have environment and economy and development working together and going much farther than each could individually. Our plan also gives control and power to the local government and local communities to create what they want to see for their neighborhoods and their part of the region. For example, on the north of the lake, there's a small town called Tahoe City. Their vision is a small, cottagey, slow pace of life, recreation, community. As you see here, the buildings are shorter. They're a certain style. There's access to bike paths and recreation along the lake. In contrast, on the south of Lake Tahoe, where more development and more visitors come, we have casinos and gaming. There's more density, more jobs, but there is also access to recreation. All of this is what the community wants to see their neighborhoods become, but it all fits under the umbrella of our regional development plan. Our major goals are met, but allowing for each individual community to keep that sense of individuality while achieving regional goals. Unfortunately, because of this legacy development in the past, we have lots of damage to undo. Most of the development in these marshes is not good, and it's old, degrading, and polluting. So to incentivize transferring that development, moving that development back to these urban cores, we have a development rights system and transfer of development rights. For example, if you would like to build a hotel in Lake Tahoe, you want to build a hotel, you have to purchase, or you can purchase a hotel room in sensitive lands. For example, a 10-room hotel. Each one of those hotel rooms has a development right or a value assigned to it. So a developer, private investment, purchases an old, rundown hotel that is not getting tax revenue, is not bringing in guests, is not doing good for the environment. They purchase that hotel, remove it, restore the land to its natural habitat. If they transfer that to an urban center, our incentive to them is now you are allowed to build a 30-room hotel. So you get an incentive, you get to develop more, but in the proper location where we want to see development. So instead of having a 10-room hotel that is earning very little tax revenue and generating very little economic value, you now not only get environmental restoration and environmental benefit, but you also get more tax revenue, more economic prosperity for the community. And that is not the government investing in the environment. That is private businesses investing in both the environment and the economy at the same time. Through this, we were able to turn this into this. You have old buildings on the top, no infrastructure for stormwater, no infrastructure for sewage, very polluting. Now you have recreation access, better aesthetics, better looks, more tax revenue, more jobs, more businesses, all in the same location. just different ways of going about sustainable development. You take this and turn it into a wonderful transit center for people to easily get on the bus or bike path, get out of their vehicles. You also create more open space and recreational access, which has great value for the outdoor tourist economy. Visitors don't want to see trailers and trash strewn about the environment. They want to see the environment in its natural state with buildings that blend in and fit with their surroundings. Now, as I mentioned, we have a great amount of environmental damage we are trying to undo. We accomplish this through our Environmental Improvement Program. It was created in 1997 by when former President Bill Clinton came to Lake Tahoe, and recently was reinvigorated by former President Barack Obama. This program looks at watersheds, recreation, communities, air quality, transportation, and over the last 20 years, $2 billion US has been invested in restoring our environment. It is much more expensive to fix the damage than it is to prevent it in the first place. Now, with all of the players, local, communities, NGO, science, private, government, there needs to be a structure to manage this investment and manage these programs. To do that, at the top, we have the executives that represent public, private, and NGO and science. They provide supervision and direction to the coordinators below, the working groups, the people that are the scientists who are providing us information on how to best implement environmental restoration and sustainable development. They work together to prioritize projects and funding and goals. And then from there, each individual organization, private business, and nonprofit, and NGO, implement projects and achieve tangible results. Turning this parking lot, which was built on top of a stream, back to its natural habitat. Taking this stream that historically was used as a gravel mine and restoring it. Taking this along the lake shore and enhancing it into public access and recreation. It now has greater value and more economic driver for tourists. They don't want to visit what it was before, but now people flock to it. But they don't damage the environment as they were. As I mentioned, we have many problems with stormwater. We address these in several ways. Through built infrastructure, such as infiltration basins, filters, underground pipes, capture and treat the stormwater before it reaches the lake. We also do it through natural mechanisms and green infrastructure, such as retention ponds and basins. And Tahoe's economy is now looking forward to tourism and recreation. Historically, it was built on casinos and gambling, but in 2009 and 2008, that crashed, leaving our economy stagnant, our communities with no jobs and no prospects. We lost many community members. Many people had to leave the area, never to be able to return. Outdoor recreation and tourism is our future. We have 4 seasons of recreation, from skiing to mountain biking, enjoying the lake. And it really is our future challenge and current problem we are dealing with. How do you deal and manage 24 million people to be able to support locals like the 3 of us, but not degrade the environment? At some point, if you degrade the environment enough, no one will want to visit and recreate, so you lose your economy. The environment and the economy are one and the same. We do this by bringing together a coalition of stakeholders, public, private, nonprofit, scientists, together to work on these problems to achieve a common vision. Each of us plays a specific part and role, but we all work in step towards what we need for the future. But the problems we face are much greater than the visitation or legacy development. The planet is warming. We know climate change is happening. And this is having an increased risk of catastrophic wildfire. Our forests are very vulnerable to completely burning down. The snow that we rely on for winter recreation is projected to disappear by the end of the century. With no snow, there is no skiing and no jobs based on skiing. So how do we begin to address this challenge that goes much beyond our jurisdictional, our government boundaries, our formal authority? Our traditional approaches were very local and exclusive. We were very prescriptive. We told people what to do and how to do it. That didn't work then, and it's not going to work in the future. We need new approaches, looking at larger landscapes, larger regions. Look individually, for example, at Pui, but look larger at the entire region and all of the lakes and the entire country of Chile. How do you work together to achieve goals for everyone? At Tahoe, we do that through two mechanisms. We strengthen the connections between our rural communities, between Tahoe and the communities to the north and south of us, communities in the mountains in Colorado. We look to communities like this across the globe. How can we all work together to support each other? That is why we are here today. We also look to strengthen the connections from rural to urban. The urban centers around Lake Tahoe, San Francisco, Northern Nevada, Sacramento, there are millions and millions of people that care very much about Lake Tahoe and visit Tahoe very frequently. How do we get them, for example, Valdivia, how do you get the people of Valdivia and Santiago to help you and realize that them investing in your lake, in your region, helps them? This takes a watershed level approach. You want to look at the entire watershed, the entire region. You don't look just at your individual neighborhood, community, lake. You need to look bigger. The world is global now. You need to take a global approach. This is accomplished through something called the collective impact model, where you have a common vision, common goals, and common concerns, and you find common ground between all of those to work together. This needs a backbone support organization or organizations to bring people together. That is the role our agency plays. We're a convener. We bring people to the table, all sides, all opinions, and work through issues and achieve that. And as you see, the implementation happens at a local level. Everyone works in their piece of the puzzle, but as you progress forward, it all fits together to create a masterpiece. The 5 things needed to achieve this are a common agenda, working towards the same thing, the same goals. Shared measurements. You need to be able to measure your success. How do you want to measure environmental protection, economic prosperity, working towards the same thing? You have mutually reinforcing activities. What we do in this community center helps the businesses downtown, helps the shops that are selling the local goods, helps the environment through community activism. Everyone is working together and helping each other. You need continuous communication. This is a great first step. Keep talking, keep meeting with each other, keep having dialogue. This is how you get things done. And finally, again, you need that support organization. You need someone to bring everyone together, to organize the meetings, to have those conversations, to act as a mediator or a celebrator of your achievements. And if you learn one thing from Lake Tahoe today, it is that sustainable development and collective action equals economic prosperity for everyone. You have a chance to learn from our mistakes and not make the same ones. We are not here to tell you everything to do or have you copy what we have done, but learn from how we've messed up in the past and are still making mistakes today. You are ahead of where we are after the last few days spending time here. You have recognized the problem and are trying to address it much earlier than we did. You have a chance to not destroy the environment like we did. It's taken us 60 years to begin to fix this. You are ahead of us. I encourage you to keep up the momentum and appreciate what you are trying to achieve. Thank you very much.